Hey guys, welcome back. Bird flu is the rage, all in the news. Let's hear what people have to say about it.
Is in the news again because there appears to be an outbreak of bird flu among dairy workers.
Really?
So, to track this, public health officials are testing unpasteurized milk because if they tested pasteurized milk, they wouldn't find the virus because pasteurization kills bad disease causing microorganisms. So, this really should highlight that whatever benefit one thinks you might get from drinking raw milk, because you think that heating milk destroys the immunologic or whatever special properties you think milk has before you heat it up to kill microorganisms, is maybe not worth the risk of going back to a time where people died from tuberculosis, from salmonella, from all sorts of other things, drinking milk that wasn't treated to kill bad microorganisms.
Many of you guys drink raw milk. If you have drinking raw milk, do you swear by it? I have never met one person that said you got to try raw milk, Jesse. But if you guys do feel that way, let me know down below.
I don't know if you guys been watching the news, but that's something I like to do, right? And there's like a new case of something called bird flu. Basically, this virus is so deadly that if anybody catches it, they basically die. There's been a case of somebody in Louisiana who basically contacted that they basically got bird flu, basically. And they've also said there's been about 61 cases of bird flu in the United States since like April of this year until now. I don't know, man. Like, y'all tell me in the comments, bro. Like, y'all think something's going on, man? Like, because like it just seems like literally like every couple of years there's some new shit that's coming out, bro. The news and shit like that. They were talking about something called swine flu, and then it was something called monkeypox, and then it was something called some other shit, and then COVID came out, and now it's bird flu. It's some new shit that happens every couple of years.
So he said 61 people have it or have gotten it, but I think most of them ended up surviving. I don't know if it's one of these things where one out of two people perish or one out of one people perish, but it's probably going to end up being not as huge as they make it out to be. Fingers crossed.
What Canada does to monitor avian flu. Wastewater testing looks for H5 influenza in BC. So I hopped on over to the wastewater board and check out what I found. Well, first things first, I figured out that they do not subtype by H5 unless I'm missing something and somebody can shed some clarity on this. It looks like they actually only type it by H1N1 and I believe H3N2. So if you look at this on your screen, the light pink is for all the cases of influenza A, which is of animal origin, that are unsubtyped. Okay, now look at the graph, the tiny little graph. Here, let me enlarge it for you. Here's that graph again. So everything light pink is unsubtyped. So what do you think that means? What could that possibly be? They claim that they are subtyping H5, but there is no way to search it that I found on the wastewater site. I would love to be wrong on this. So here's the breakdown of all the unsubtyped influenza A cases throughout the recent weeks. And if you look at the numbers 33, 34, 34, 27, they kind of held steady until the last reported week, which ended on November 2nd, and then it doubled to 71. So I wonder how many cases it's going to say at the update tomorrow. And I also wonder if I'm safe in my assumption that these could possibly be H5 cases. Now, if you look at the regions where there are influenza A activity, they happen to coincide with all of the H5 cases in chicken farms, interestingly enough. Now check this out. Nothing to see here, right? News release. Today, the Honorable Mark Holland, Minister of Health, announced a $5.2 million investment to support 35 research projects that will help Canada prevent, prepare for, recover from, and respond to potential outbreaks of avian influenza A, hashtag H5N1. Here's the official government release of the same information. It goes on to say that they are going to try and help the most vulnerable groups, including, wait for it, agricultural workers and Indigenous people. Let me know what you think.
What do you guys think, Canada? Do you think it is an uptake in avian flu in the animals? If so, kind of scary considering it seems to really be devastating on animal populations.
So the bird flu has been affecting a few cows in the United States. And I know a lot of people drink milk. And let's not forget, a lot of people have dairy in their products. So milk could come from all forms of food, all sorts of food. Let's not forget that. Now, what is healthy nowadays? Every time I turn around, there's something wrong with the food that we eat. So now cows are running around with bird flu.
Yeah, but I think the milk in food is pasteurized, so I don't think it would really count. It's the raw milk, I think, that has the issue.
I'm about to just start eating grass like this. I gotta go.
That's where the bird poop settles, and that's where you'll get the bird flu from, sir. Don't eat the grass.
Emergency was declared because California currently has the highest number of human cases due to exposure to dairy cattle. It's important to know that there's still no evidence of human-to-human transmission. Almost every case has been traced back to exposure to an animal, either poultry or dairy, and there were a few cases where they don't know the source of exposure, but their contacts have been traced, and there was no human-to-human spread from the infected person to anyone that they came in contact with. Altogether, there have been 63 positive human cases out of over 70,000 tests. There have, however, been a large amount of animal cases. There have been over 123 million cases in U.S. poultry, over 10,000 cases in wild birds across all 50 states, and cases in 865 herds of dairy cows. Additionally, there have been reports of a few severe cases in humans. These cases have led to hospitalization. In the U.S. so far, there's been one reported severe case. This severe case was related to the D.1.1 genotype of the virus, which is mostly found in wild birds. Some animals, like pigs, have a combination of human and animal receptors. In a case where one of those animals gets infected with the virus, it can be passed to humans more easily and evolve to be transmitted from human to human. As for who is at risk of contracting avian flu, those risk factors remain the same. This includes farm workers and people who have interactions with possibly infected animals. Never handle a dead animal or an animal that appears sick unless you have the proper training and proper protective equipment.
If you're a farmhand and you're sitting there dealing with animals every day, walking in and out of barns, stepping on bird crap, this, that, and the other, I could see how you would be at a higher risk than maybe somebody that works in the city.
This is scary. I believe they also reported the first human case, I think also in Oregon. Right now we are currently boiling all our cat's water and putting the food in the boiling water, letting it sit, and they're eating mush babe, but at least it's boiled and sitting for a while. Yeah, do what you can. Check your cat food. Does it have poultry in it? I live in Washington State. This is really sad. Shelton, they just lost 20 large cats. So 3 recovered. That's an insane mortality rate. But anyways, actually it was Louisiana, but that just happened.
That is really sad to have 17 out of 20 big cats perish.
As some of you may know, the reason egg prices have been increasing is because a lot of poultry populations have had to be culled in order to mitigate the bird flu crisis. But over the past few months, there have been 53 confirmed CDC cases of bird flu among people, which means that bird flu is now transferring from animals to people. But now there are 2 younger individuals, a child in California as well as this child in Canada, that have contracted the disease, but nobody knows where they got it from. There have also been mutations in the H5N1 or bird flu virus that have shown it is now being more penetrating when it comes to your airways. Before, there used to be just minor symptoms with the majority of people that have gotten bird flu so far. Now it's getting worse. While there's no confirmed cases of human-to-human transmission at this time, we need to really be vigilant when it comes to interacting with wild birds, poultry birds, or even cattle. According to the CDC, it's spreading from poultry, cows, wild birds, even cats. Domesticated cats have been reported to now be receiving bird flu as well. Mammals in general, which namely it's cats, is just sporadic, and so is poultry flocks. But with poultry flocks, it's been enough where egg prices have been impacted by this. What's also really crazy about this, now they have discovered cases in Hawaii.
Ooh, how do you think it got to the islands? Do you think people took it there? If they did, that means that obviously people are getting it, but surviving from it and not getting sick from it. Because otherwise, you would have heard somebody in Hawaii that traveled there from the mainland got the illness. So, kind of scary. Did you know Hawaii has no snakes? Is that crazy?
We've lost our only goose and I think 5 or 6 ducks already. I don't know, I just have never heard anybody else experiencing this.
So let's say you're like me and you're like, hey, you're probably not ever going to be affected by the bird flu, right? In her case, she's actually bagging ducks and geese that have perished from the bird flu, or she thinks has perished from the bird flu. That seems to me like something that you might take, not catch yourself, but give to your baby. Scary.
Because I know there's nothing that you can really do to prevent it. You just gotta let it run its course. We live on a very small conservation lake, and the lake is dry now. So there hasn't been any snow geese, which is what brought it in last time. So I'm not sure how they got it this time because there's no geese out there this year. So
Couple years ago, I saw a Mike Tyson special. You guys probably saw this too, where he actually handles a lot of pigeons. If pigeons get the bird flu, I could see people getting it from the pigeons because they seem to really interact with the birds a lot, or at least Mike Tyson did.
So you may have read that something like 20 big cats died at a sanctuary out west of bird flu. Cats are particularly sensitive to bird flu, and they do actually get a very severe form of it. So to date, there's been none confirmed in Ohio. However, I think that we should plan on seeing some at some point because we definitely have had bird flu in the state since at least 2022. Cats will typically get fever, lethargy, and then rapidly progress to neurologic signs typically first, and then copious drainage from their nose, and then a high percentage of them die, something like 80%. So how do you prevent bird flu in your cat? Well, don't let your cat hunt birds. It would be the simplest because they are going to get exposed from sick birds that they catch and eat. The other way would be if you're feeding raw diet, you really need to consider cooking it because you don't know where that raw has come from and you don't know if there's bird flu in it. We have very few dairies, and most of the outbreaks have been in dairy farms where these cats drink cattle milk and etc. I think it has a potential to become a problem.
That is kind of scary. He makes a great point. Your dog is not going to go hunt a bird, but a bird might shit by your dog and your dog might sniff it up or eat it, right? But with cats, we know they actively hunt pigeons and birds and whatever else they can get their hands on. Paws on.
Oh, the eggs have went up already. $7 for a dozen of eggs.
Ouch.
I can see the eggs are going up.
Like I said, there goes 2 Christmas presents.
Come on.
You know what sucks? I remember not too long ago, you could get like a dozen eggs for like $1.50, $2. Now they do seem astronomical. Look at, she's right there by a box of cracked eggs. You're going to get the bird flu. You're going to get the bird flu.
Bird flu, you better go to hell away because we are not about to enter into 2025 with this shit. If y'all ain't got no goddamn mask, y'all better go get y'all some because California is under a state of emergency right now. Okay? If you live in Louisiana, there has been one case that has been noted. Bird flu. Person is in the hospital. Get y'all some damn masks and wear them.
Gosh, I hope we don't have to start wearing masks again. If you have to wear masks in California, that gives us the perfect chance to boycott that state. I've been wanting this for so long.
So let me get this straight. One person in Louisiana got sick with the bird flu and is hospitalized. He has not been unalived that I've heard of. He's alive. He's in the hospital. But it's a pretty severe case of the bird flu, but that's in Louisiana. And Governor Newsom in California decided he was going to declare a state of emergency for California over the bird flu because one person in Louisiana got it. And they're in the hospital, so I imagine they're being quarantined. And Louisiana hasn't declared a state of emergency? Am I wrong? I might be wrong about that. I didn't look that up. But California is declaring a state of emergency.
Wouldn't that be crazy if the drones were from China and they were throwing down little fragments of bird flu, which would be the perfect biological weapon because we're assuming that it's coming from birds, but it's really coming from those drones from China in New Jersey? Oh, shit.
So the bird flu, you guys, we're back at it again. Gavin Newsom, my Lord and Savior, has declared a state of emergency in California. Now, I live on the East Coast, but I just have a feeling that this virus is going to be able to fly across states in milliseconds and, like, immediately infect me, you know? 61 people in this country have already gotten it. That's like 0.0000001% of the population. This is way more of a crisis than the illegal immigration or unalivings in the state of California. We must shut down the country. Make sure to stay away from chicken because, I mean, it's in the name, bird flu. Stock up on flashlights. I heard that's the item that's going to go the quickest this time. Stay away from others. I mean, this hasn't even been shown to be transmitted from human to human, but if you get near another individual, you should go to jail.
When the cows get it, multiple cows get it. When the cats get it, multiple cats get it, even if they're the big tiger type cats, right? And it just seems to make sense that if it ever does jump into humans, sounds to me like we'll be spreading it to other humans really quick. So even though I don't want us to go into panic mode, it seems kind of scary. But I love scary movies. Let me know your favorite scary movie down below.
The bird flu is in California and they have declared a state of emergency. Not only that, in Louisiana, there has been one case of bird flu. And where there is one case, you got to understand that there are also multiple that have gone undetected because that person, there's no way that that one person did not interact with other people. Okay. And so remember when they had a recall on eggs not too long ago and a recall on poultry and a recall on milk or dairy products, because all the animals were getting sick. Remember, I made a video about the eggs on recall right after Thanksgiving. Very interesting, right? You got to understand, man, people travel to and fro. And so remember how COVID was? One person had it in Philadelphia. I don't know if it was Philadelphia, but one person had it across the world.
Washington.
And then a day later, 17 people had it in Texas. And then 2 days later, 35 people had it in Florida. 5 days later, 100,000 people had it in Michigan, and it's just like the number is rising. Why? Because people interact with people and they run to and fro and they carry.
So I agree with him. If this is something that we start touching people to people, it's going to spread quickly and we'll all have those masks on for the rest of our lives. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it one of those things that's just going to come and go and in a couple months we'll forget about it? Or do you think there might be something to this? Why don't you go get your shoes? Let's go for a walk.
Well, hello, venters, and good morning. I hope you guys are having an excellent day or two after Christmas. Guys, this 27-year-old kid here is named Charles Smith. You'll notice he's wearing the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office bright orange jumper. Looks very appealing to some people. He goes by the name Wolfie Coletti on social media, and you'll never forget and you'll never forget what he's guilty or charged of doing. He is guilty of it, by the way. So check this out. Over the weekend, he actually went to Walmart in Mesa, Arizona, grabbed some bug spray, and proceeded to spray it all over produce that people were about to purchase there in the Walmart. And then he actually told on himself by posting it on social media, again under the name Wolfie Coletti. He calls himself, he's a self-proclaimed troll, and basically he also did something at a Valley donut shop called Bosa's Donuts. So they were showing him getting in trouble for a second time. The first time again was with Walmart. This second time is with a place called Bosa Donuts, which, by the way, I've never eaten Bosa Donuts, but I have driven by a couple times. I do want to check it out one of these days. If you guys have tried Bosa Donuts before, let me know, because I think they have more than one location. If they only have one location, it's not too far from where I live here in Phoenix, but it's quite a few miles away from Mesa, where I used to live, by the way. Apparently, he's been banned by the judge, where the judge does not want him on social media anymore, and he's forbidding him from going to any Bosa Donuts locations. Thank God. Anybody that's into doing horrible stuff to food deserves a big time punishment. I don't know about you, but one of the things that bothers me is when you see fast food workers behind, their restaurant, and they're taking out the trash, or maybe they're mopping with a dirty looking, mop handle, and then they go right from that to serving your food, and it's absolutely disgusting. And you might say, well, Jesse, they wear those food handlers' gloves. Well, I don't know. Aren't those food handlers' gloves still touching gross stuff like the mop from the bathroom and cigarettes and trash from the dumpster? And then if they just keep those gloves on and serve you food, I don't know about you, but I find that disgusting. But this takes disgust to a whole different level. He actually bragged that he makes up to $10,000 a month on social media doing these troll-like behaviors, doing pranks. He actually asked the judge if he could be released because he said that he had his pet at home that hadn't eaten in 6 days. My thinking is, okay, and along with touching people's food with bug spray, potentially poisoning them, maybe you should get in trouble for neglect of your animal as well, because I can't believe he waited till now to tell everybody about this pet that's been unattended to for 6 days. I've always been a little bit of a germaphobe. I know what guys do with their hands and body parts that they touch. Last thing I want is for people to be preparing my food. It would be nice if people wash their hands, but I can't tell you how many times I've come out of a public restroom and literally seen multiple people just take a crap and walk right out without washing their hands. Here's the scary thing. I've talked to women that feel the same way I do, where they always wash their hands religiously, especially after they go to the bathroom. And they've told me, Jesse, women might be even worse. I've seen women in bathrooms not wash their hands either. So if some of you women can attest to that, let me know maybe the grossest thing that you've ever seen where people didn't wash their hands when they should have, down in the comments. Sometimes we look at people and they're so clean looking or they're so good looking and we just naturally assume that they're clean. But the reality is germs are invisible. And if you're one of these people that you wash your hands once a month, I don't want you touching my food. I don't even want you touching anything. You are a germ cesspool. Is anybody else like me on that? My thinking is, hey, even if you're healthy as a horse because you've got all this interaction with germs, I don't want nothing to do with you. Stay away from me. By the way, does anyone else wonder why doctors and nurses don't get sick more often? They're there in the hospital. People with the flu are literally coming up to them every single day, and some way, somehow, they don't get sick. Really blows me away. So I know there is something to building up your immune system, but my goodness, I don't want to build up my immune system by having friends that are disgusting. Wash your hands. Oh my God. Even when people are touching money, they don't realize how dirty that money is. Ugh. That's why I always like it when you do touch money, if it's like a brand new bill, then it doesn't feel as dirty, but it probably still is. One of my favorite old sitcoms is The Odd Couple. And one of my favorite characters there is Felix Unger. And he was a total germaphobe and neat freak. If you guys remember Felix Unger, maybe let me know down in the comments. If you've never seen that show, even though it's older, it's one of those shows that you might actually like. There's a lot of those older shows that if they came back out and were reintroduced, I think people would love them. There's something lacking in our TV shows nowadays because it seems the more options we have, the less good stuff there is to watch. And one of the fun things about back in the day, when you would watch The Cosby Show or Family Ties or whatever the show might be that you liked, it was really cool to go to school or work the next day and actually talk with people about the show. We've lost that here in America, and it's kind of a bummer because one thing we do have for sure, it's really fond memories of our old favorite TV shows. That's a thing of the past though. When you have 500 choices to watch, the odds of people watching the same show as you go down to little or none. All right, so let's read some comments. These comments were really varied, and I thought they were pretty cool. So tell me what you guys think. Daniel Gallimore says, dude should be charged for attempted murder. See, here's the thing. Some people look at that and they say, oh, he's joking. He's trying to go viral. He's making $10,000 a month. He's probably lying about that, by the way, but let's say he's being honest. And he's making $10K a month. That's $120K a year. Guy's making six figures, potentially killing people. So I agree with you. If you put some sort of bug spray on my food, and then I end up consuming and eating that food and I get sick, you should be responsible for that, not just monetarily, but you should be on the line for going to prison for poisoning people. And if you do take someone's life, I think it should be attempted murder. I remember one time, me and the family, we went to this place called Denny's. I have a feeling Denny's is in all 50 states. And I was eating these nachos. And this woman brings over, I don't remember if it was water or tea. I think it was just water. And she came and she was filling up my cup, or my glass, excuse me. And a little perspiration drip from the water went into my nachos, and it wasn't like a clear drop. It was like this milky gray drop, and it dropped right into my nachos. And I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, you know, but I couldn't eat not even a single nacho after that. I was just disgusted. Now, the good thing is, by the time she had filled up my water, I was already about 2/3 done. But when I saw that drop go onto my thing, because imagine her reaching over to fill up your glass and this drop of perspiration. And again, if it would have been clear, at least I could have said, oh, it was just water. But it was like milky gray. It was the grossest thing ever. And I just couldn't eat it. There was another time where somebody at this place called Macayo's, and I love Macayo's, but he brought me a glass of water. I drink a lot of water, by the way. And inside the cup, there was a little thing of refried beans, and it just grossed me out. It's like, how the heck are you going to give somebody a clear liquid like water and not notice that you have like a half of a teaspoon of refried beans in the bottom of the glass? And if you don't notice that, does that mean that you're not even washing things? You just give it a customary glance and, oh, this is good enough for our customers? I'm telling you, there's lots of things like that that can just ruin you. And when these things happen, I go years at a time without eating at certain restaurants because it just sticks with you. Miss Penny, 4687, says he is worried about his pet not eating in 6 days, because remember, he asked the judge if he could get some leniency to go feed his pet, but he didn't care if a human ate poison. Once again, being the bug spray. You missed me with that one. See, that's the thing. Here's the crazy thing about animal lovers. There are some legitimate people that value the lives of their pets and animals more than other people. This guy doesn't strike me as that. This guy strikes me as a goofy character that doesn't realize how awful his actions are. So to even ask somebody, can I be let out so I can go feed my pet? No, how about we're gonna charge you with animal neglect on top of it all? That's what should happen. And I'm sure this guy has friends or family somewhere that could go and feed that cat, even if they have to call the management of his apartment complex. By the way, I know some of you exist out there. If you are one of those people that love animals more than people, let me know down in the comments. I know the real reason is because people like this disappoint us, but you know deep down, you should technically love people a little bit more than Rufus. Well, Jesse, what if I like people more than animals, but not necessarily more than my pets? Okay, that's understandable. You love your dog more than other people, but you should still love people more than dogs in general, okay? We'll go that way with it. But even then, my goodness. Okay, horrible question for the venters. We can eliminate your dog or cat right now. And what it'll do, if we do that, is it'll make it where nobody dies for one whole day on the whole planet Earth. Would you be willing to do that? I know right now everyone's looking at their dog thinking, no, BB, you're good. I'm not gonna take you out. Even if it spares 1 million people their lives, I'm not gonna do it, BB. BB was the name of my mom's pet beagle growing up. My first beagle was named Twinkle Little Star. Cute name. Conrad Spoke says, Dear News, stop calling these crimes prank videos. I agree completely. At what point is a prank a little too evil to be considered a prank? You know what I mean? It's one thing if you prank somebody and you ruin their morning or you ruin their day, but they're still okay and they're gonna live. But when you try to poison people, record it on video so that you can go viral. And then here's the really sad thing. How many people probably watch this guy's video and never, ever, ever think to pick up the phone and to call the authorities? Whoever did pick up the phone and call the authorities on these guys, as far as I'm concerned, you're a hero. Not like Superman cape hero, but you're still a hero because you probably did save some lives. And more than likely, you're gonna stop this guy from doing this creepy stuff in the future. Here's the crazy thing. How come people are so out of touch nowadays that they think they're doing a service to the community by putting up videos about this junk instead of actually being good people? Is that scary, Carla? Is that scary, Becky? Is that freaky, Mala and Sean? I think that's horrible, and I don't know about you, but if this guy poisoned some food and one of my family or friends ate it, I would want this guy served up on a platter to a tiger or a grizzly bear. God, sometimes I think that maybe we should have public humiliation, tar and feather this guy. Maybe something like that would actually stop all these goofy, horrible things from happening. Today I got right on my job at 8 in the morning. I had so much stuff to do that by the time 4 o'clock rolled around, it just blew me away at how fast the day went by. So if you're one of these people that's always looking for an easy, cushy job, maybe you're thinking of things the wrong way. Have a good day's work your butt off, and the 8-hour shift will fly by before you know it. Jesse, that's true. I know it's true. I know. The running back for ASU, that Cam Scattaboo guy, he found me again on another ASU video, and he started responding to me again. It's really creeping me out. Not that it's creepy. I love that he's responding, but it's the whole idea that I wanted to talk to this guy because he's my favorite player, and all of a sudden he's reaching out to me on the regular. Oh my God, is that the bird flu? Mr. Bird, move. By the way, what do you guys make of this bird flu situation? I heard yesterday that like 2.5 million birds have lost their lives. Apparently they poop in the food of the cows and it spreads to entire herds of cows. Apparently it takes out like half the people, or not half the people, but half the cows that get infected. Just sounds really like some gnarly stuff. And they say eventually it's gonna go people to people. Hey, I love these movies where like, you know, like Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, where all of a sudden everybody's dropping like flies, or like that movie The Stand by Stephen King, also known as Richard Bachman. Did you guys know that Richard Bachman was also Stephen King? Anyway, these end of the world type movies. Right now we've got the drones, we've got, you know, things like COVID, we've got the bird flu, we've got so many things that could just set off at any minute and take us all out. And it just makes you wonder, are we living in a darn movie? And if we are living in a movie, are we living in a horror movie? And wouldn't it be fun if we were living in a movie, if we could live in a comedy? Is it just me, or do comedies always seem really happy-go-lucky, like everything is just worth smiling about? Not a care in the world. I'm in my movie right now. I mean, even Police Academy. Didn't Police Academy almost make being a person in the police department look fun? You know that's a miserable job. You know it. I remember when I was young and watched Police Academy, every one of those policemen, including Hightower, remember Bubba Hightower or whatever? Even he looked young. Now, half of them are elderly and the other half are already passed on. A lot of people think that rich and famous people like drink the blood of babies and eat babies and all these weird things. And when you ask people, why do you think that? Well, they're eating the melanin of black people and they're eating baby blood and this, right? They're doing that so they can live forever. Well, if that's the case, then why do so many famous people pass away all the time? Sometimes you have to look at the goofy rumors that are out there and say, you know what? That's just goofy crap. Don't believe that stuff. Mark Boyles, 8019, says they need to make a very severe, very public example of this guy. Yeah, I think they do too. Imagine if you were one of these guys thinking about copying this guy, and all of a sudden you had a situation where it's like, oh my God, they're removing that guy's fingers on TV. That would really make you think twice about following in this guy's footsteps, wouldn't it? Oh my God, John stole $1 million from the bank. Now John has a permanent tax of 50% of his money he has to give to charity for the rest of his life. That, I'll tell you what, that might make you think twice before you try robbing the bank or stealing from people. Think about whatever the worst torture could possibly be for you, and imagine watching somebody else go through that torture. That would really make you think twice. Jesse, are you advocating torture? Damn right, Bob. Let's torture them all. That's what I say. You want me on that walk. You need me on that walk. You can't handle the truth. Did you order the walk again? Damn right. Damn right. Cappy. Rocket Pig Records, what a name. Rocket Pig Records says he has also assaulted people at the mall, multiple times locked people in at a place of business from the outside, and multiple other offenses. What a worthless sociopath. So I agree, if you're assaulting people in the mall, you should probably be at least in jail, if not prison, right? But if he did find a way to lock people into their place of work from the outside, that's kind of funny. Be a pain in the butt. Could you imagine you work the worst day of your life, right? It's just one of those days where you're like, I can't wait to get home. I'm gonna bust open a can of beer. I'm gonna watch the football game. And then right when you go to that front door to get out of the office you're in, it's locked from the outside. Could you imagine how irritating that would be? And let's be honest, you know how a lot of people have no patience? I could totally see a coworker of mine just breaking a window to get out, you know? Instead of calling the police to come and save you or a locksmith to get you out of there, I could totally picture people just breaking the window because we don't have any patience. All we want is our 30-second TikTok video, and we don't want to be here at work. Why is this door locked? Okay, kind of a goofy walk today, but you guys want to know something? Sometimes you have to go for a walk because it's there. Sometimes the main reason to walk is just to walk. You have to do it every day for it to be effective when it comes to lowering your stress level, helping you lose weight, and helping you get on a pathway to success and better health. So again, if you want to be healthy, start a walking routine with us. We're going to be starting it on the 1st of the month. I wish you a beautiful day. I hope you're having happy holidays with your friends and family, and we'll see you tomorrow.